Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I've not been doing a great deal of videos of late, so I thought it was about time I buckled down and got one recorded. And the general reason for this is, all in all, I've not been doing a huge amount of what I would consider interesting, noteworthy stuff that I want to produce a video on. I've been doing lots of bits and bobs, and I've been doing quite a lot of abyssal runs at the moment, trying to theory craft a decent fit for my characters, etc. So yeah, it hasn't really been video worthy, or what I would have wanted to have put out as a video. And in regards to manufacturing, research, etc., I've let that die down for the moment. I'm having a bit of a break from that, although I have been doing quite a lot on the Hypernet, and as some of you are aware, I did have a Nomad that has been sitting in my hangar for a good amount of time, and I decided to throw that on the Hypernet. So here is a clip of how that went. So as I'm sure some of you are aware, I have flirted with the idea of doing my jump freighter on the Hypernet, but didn't have the guts basically to do it. Now obviously, as you can see here, I did take the plunge and did do it in the end. So here's a biggie. This is going to be an interesting one, fingers crossed. Again, I bought 4 of the nodes, and that's looking good to start off with. Oh, come on, please. Oh, whew. Sugar. Oh well, again, you win some, you lose some. It was looking good to start off with, but obviously it wasn't to be. So that is a bit of a kick in the teeth there, but it was a 50-50 chance, so it wasn't unexpected. So yeah, that was a little disappointing, but as I said, it was 50-50, so it wasn't 100% unexpected. Now, I did what any sane person would do. I rushed out and bought another Nomad after it had been sitting in my hangar for 6 months. So I've now got another Nomad that, again, is just kind of going to sit here probably and just waste ISK. But hey, it was an off-the-cuff kind of purchase. And I have been playing around with the Hypernet stuff, buying my own nodes and not buying my own nodes and seeing how it goes. So I've got a few that haven't gone through here. I did try it with the Nomad, Macarial, etc. So there are, or it has been a bit hit and miss, but I think I am generally up. I haven't been keeping account of how much ISK it's been making me, but all in all, I do believe I am up on this. So it hasn't been as disappointing as I expected. So from the last video, obviously I said, and I generally do I buy half my tickets, and I got a few comments of people saying, you know, obviously don't do this, blah blah blah. And I thought, so yeah, I'd give it a try, and all in all, the results haven't been particularly disappointing. Now, the thing that is nice about not buying your own tickets is you can put the items on at a significantly cheaper cost than people that do, and assuming obviously the item does sell, you'll make quite a hefty profit a good amount of the time. But yeah, just obviously getting the item to sell can be a little bit more difficult, and as we saw there are a few failures with that way of doing it, where I hadn't really had, or I don't have many failures when I'm buying half my tickets. So it swings and roundabouts. You probably make about the same amount of ISK, but you probably don't need quite as much ISK up front if you're not buying your own tickets. So yeah, each has its merits, I guess. So bit of an eye-opener. When the Hypernet first did start, when the Hypernet started off, I did do it as not buying my own tickets, and it didn't do particularly well, which is why I went on to the way of buying my tickets. So yeah, things change, and again, I haven't really adapted or noticed, because the way that I was doing it works, and generally if something's working, don't mess with it. Now, I am trying to consolidate a little bit here because I'm accumulating stuff, and it's not really what I want. As we see, I've got 37 billion in this hangar. This hangar I cleared out not all that long ago, so this was the hangar that I had in my general item hangar moved all the bits down to clear this out because I was just buying Tech 3 stuff and generally wanted to clear it out because it was messy, and as you can see this is slowly filled up with junk and bits and bobs and everything again, so I'm pretty much back in the place where I started, which is a little annoying and frustrating. So generally at the moment what I'm doing, I'm trying to get rid of stuff that I'm accumulating. I'm turning into a hoarder and I don't really want that. Now my power circuits here that I bought for 260,000 ISK have gone up nicely over the course of the last couple of months, and I did release a video, I can't 100% remember, it was reading graphs, but I can't remember what the video was called offhand, but it's come to the point where I want to get rid of these. They've gone up nicely in price and it's about time I cashed them in. So that's what we're going to do. So it's quite a nice markup that I've got on there. So as I say, let's just see what I actually paid. So 2.6 billion ISK I paid, and I'm going to make 4.5 back from that, assuming they sell at the price we're currently putting it on for. So quite happy with that. That's a nice bit of markup for, or increase for not doing anything, just holding on to items. And again, as I say, I'm just generally tidying up and doing stuff. I've got a lot of characters that are just accumulating skill points. So as this one, you can see 150,000, 25,000, 25, 10, 15, just keeps accumulating, and I'm not particularly using them at the moment. So what I may find that I end up doing is I'm just going to go through all my characters and siphon off all the skill points that I'm generally not going to use. I have an amount of skill points down here which is 1.5 million, which for this character I don't really need the skill points, and generally unless it's my main character I don't accumulate the skill points. Again, we're doing engineering here and I need to start siphoning off some skills. Now this is kind of a nice thing about skill training and farming, that you can set numerous skills and just let it accumulate, and you don't have to suck the skills out straight away. You can just let it build up if you can't be bothered. So do a couple more here, so these are all the same attributes, it doesn't really matter. So I've got another 57 days before potentially I have to come back here and either add more skills or start sucking the skills out, and that's kind of handy because again you don't always remember, you can't always be bothered, and the ISK is slowly but surely accumulating there. Yes, I've bought the PLEX and I've sold it, and the ISK would probably be better sat in my account doing something, but to be perfectly honest at the moment I just can't be bothered to suck the skills out. And with that as well, the market isn't doing particularly sterling in regards to PLEX price and extractors at the moment. So although I could extract them and let them sit there, I'm going to have to pay for the skill extractors, which will therefore suck out more liquid ISK and then would sit there in extractors until either the price increases or it gets desperate enough that I just have to sell them because the price is decreasing. And as I'm sure you're aware that a good number of prices are decreasing at the moment, and I won't say that EVE is in a recession at the moment, but obviously with CCP doing its best, or their best I should say, to make income a little harder to acquire, people are spending less, saving more, and again that is reflected in the fact that PLEX prices are slowly going down, that in order less people are potentially buying, and that is causing the price to drop. And it's, again, I stated in one of the videos not all that long ago that people were moaning, complaining that ISK was becoming harder and harder to acquire and that they couldn't earn as much as they did. And this is reflected in prices, because prices drop same as any recession really, real world or virtual world. As it becomes harder to acquire, prices go down to match it, and as we can see, PLEX is no exception here. It is dropping because people are struggling now to afford it. There's not as much liquid ISK in the game. People are saving some of their ISK, and PLEX prices are reflecting that. So again, a lot of people have been discouraged, and it's like, oh, it's harder to get ISK, it's harder to do this, it's harder to do that. Well, as I say, prices are dropping to reflect this. So although it's harder to acquire, or you can't make, I don't know, whatever it was that you were making, you've probably lost, what, 25-30%. Prices are now slowly catching up with that, and initially there would have been ISK sloshing around in the system, but that has now disappeared, or slowly being used. Now, some of you may remember or may not, but I told a story of how I got into station trading probably about a month or two ago, maybe longer, can't remember 100%, and that was buying minerals. All I would do is I would go into, with this character, pull up a mineral that I wanted to trade, place a buy order. It would have been at Jitter, this was before Citadels, so I would have looked down here to see the range, and the range was, so the biggest order currently open is 4 jumps, and that is 7 jumps away. So generally I'd want to be slightly above that person's buy price, so it would have been 576, which is 11% below. Now, minimum volume 1, 4 jump range, I could potentially go lower, but 560. So I would have done that. I would have put a minimum amount in so I didn't get lots of little chunks everywhere, because this guy has a minimum volume of 1 within 5 jumps of New Caldari. This guy's got it within 4 jumps, and the minimum quantity means you can end up with 1 tritanium here, there and everywhere, and you can end up with, although it's only over 4 jumps, there can be 10 stations per system around, and you can have tiny little chunks that basically aren't really worth your time to go in collect. So I would do, when I did it, a minimum of say 1 million or 2 million, and so say we would do 1 million in here, and then I would crank that up to an amount that I wanted to put in, and basically over the course of 2 days this would just generally fill up slowly but surely, and it didn't matter whereabouts it was sold to me. So as we can see, some of these here, so let's have a look. Wrong one, well done. So the tritanium would be sold to me, I would go in and I would sell it exactly where I found it for the current regional average. Oh my word, I used to be really good at this. There we go. So I would do it at the regional average, and this was before these horrific broker fees, and that's generally how I made a good portion of my ISK, that I would literally just do that again and again. Now this took, where were we, 18 to 30, so that took me 12 days before my entire order was filled, and the reason it was filled was because this guy dumped a huge amount on me. As you can see here, this guy was, well, these orders were all the same person, and then a few others. Now, yeah, this obviously now doesn't work, which is a little disappointing, because I say this is how I made a good volume of my initial starting capital, by just buying minerals and selling minerals where they were sold to me, and you can't really do that now. And as I said, that's a little disappointing. It's a way of trading that has now kind of evaporated in regards to minerals. Now, obviously you do get the odd one. This guy, as I said, 75 million units, and that was just as the war was going. So oddly enough, I did go out with a freighter and pick that up and pull it back here, because these are, or will be, tritanium that I can use in some of my manufacturing, so that could be quite handy there. And obviously I got it at a decent price, so every extra that I sell is profit on top. So as I said, I have been doing quite a lot of the abyssal stuff, and I have been exploding in mass, and as you can see here, we've got a good number of losses. Next page, over the last couple of days, again a lot of losses, and final page, again a lot of losses there. So it's been hurting quite a lot. I'm still practicing some new fits that seem to go perfectly well on the test server as always, and you get back to the normal server and boom bang, it doesn't go quite as well as it does on the test server, whether that's nerves, whether things are slightly tweaked, or whether it's just bad luck. But as you can see, I have been racking up the losses here in mass. So that's what I'm currently up to. I'm just liquidating stuff, doing abyssal runs. I've also been in the Delve, joining in with some of the war stuff that's been going on, so that's been quite fun and a nice change of pace. So again, I'm not stopping with the industrial stuff, it's just that for the moment I've put it a little bit on the back burner while I've been trying to get the abyssal stuff up and running how I want it. So that's been a focus of my time a lot, and again it's one of the reasons why I've not made as many videos, due to the fact that obviously 20 minutes of time, and I've been really putting in some time into getting that to the point where, so I say, I'm happy and can do the abyssal runs that I want to do with relative ease, I'll say. So that's where we are at the moment, and I hope that was interesting, informative, and just giving you a bit of an update on where I am, what I'm doing. Not forgot about YouTube, and I will be releasing more videos in the coming weeks. So thanks for listening. If you've not subscribed, then please do think about it. Again, I do release and have a decent back catalogue now of 70 videos, mostly related to industry and how to make ISK. So thanks for your time, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.